openly discussed. NTD's international correspondent David Vivez reports from Paris.
France's debt levels continue to stir anxiety. At 114% of GDP, with persistent budget deficits and a lack of credible long-term savings, the idea of financial guardianship by the International Monetary Fund has been raised several times this year. The term guardianship refers to the conditional aid programs the IMF imposes on financially distressed nations. These often include strict austerity, tax hikes, spending freezes, and structural reforms. The most notable example in Europe remains Greece, which between 2010 and 2018 was forced into deep cuts to pensions, wages, and public services in exchange for $300 billion in loans. In June, the IMF chief economist Pierre-Olivier Gourinchas said the question of IMF intervention could arise, but not tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. He also acknowledged that if nothing is done to reverse the debt trajectory, the issue may become unavoidable. Economist Jean-Philippe Feldman from the IRF think tank says that while France and Greece's situations can't truly be compared, France is nevertheless aging closer to a red line.
There are risks. And there are people who are increasingly warning against being placed under the supervision of international organizations. The question is whether we will continue to inspire a certain degree of confidence or definite confidence in international creditors. The IMF recommendations in April were quite harsh. If the situation continues to deteriorate, we might not see the light at the end of the tunnel. It also depends on what international rating agencies will say in September. In reality,
earlier this month, France's Prime Minister presented a plan to save $40 billion to balance the 2026 budget. But this won't be enough to turn the tide of public spending, Feldman says.
This is not a plan to reduce public spending, but to lower the increase in spending. In 2025, the budget is 1.69 trillion euros, so it's increasing. And it's expected to reach 1.72 trillion euros in 2026. In other words, for a French politician, when spending increases, but less than expected, these are savings that are extraordinary.
Despite renewed promises from French leaders, the state has not managed to reduce its deficit in over 50 years. Economists warn that a potential financial crisis in France could impact the Eurozone even more severely than the Greek crisis of the 2010s. David Vives, NTD News, Paris.
Up next, a certain type of political ad is trending in New York